Amara whispered, "Marcus is arrogant but sexy," her voice a mix of irritation and desire, not knowing he was close enough to hear. Her best friend, Tasha, gasped, covering her mouth as the cafe's soft hum turned tense. Amara leaned closer, lowering her voice, yet her words still carried, sharp and unguarded. Tasha said, "Girl, you're bold for saying that out loud." Amara smirked, sipping her latte, trying to mask her nerves, but her eyes betrayed unease. At the next table, Marcus froze, the words slicing into him like an unexpected blade. His jaw tightened, and his gaze locked on the reflection of Amara's face in the cafe's glass wall. The air thickened with unspoken electricity, every heartbeat loud in the silence that followed. Amara, oblivious, laughed, her tone brittle, as if daring the world to challenge her. Marcus rose slowly, chair scraping the floor, his tall frame casting a shadow over her table. Tasha's eyes widened in alarm, her hand clutching Amara's arm. Amara turned, her smile faltering when she met his piercing eyes. Marcus said, "So, arrogant but sexy? Is that how you see me?" His words struck like a challenge, wrapped in calm control, but edged with fire. Amara's pulse quickened as silence stretched, her pride refusing to back down even as her heart trembled. Marcus's gaze lingered on her face, heavy with questions. Tasha whispered, "Say something, girl." Amara forced a steady tone and said, "If the shoe fits, Marcus, maybe you should wear it." Marcus' lips curved in the faintest smile, equal parts danger and intrigue. He replied, "Careful. Words like that cut both ways." The cafe's air grew thick, patrons pretending not to notice but sneaking glances at the storm unfolding. Amara fought the urge to look away, her chin lifting defiantly, though her palms grew damp. Tasha shook her head in disbelief, whispering again, "You really trying him right now?" Marcus leaned closer, lowering his voice so only they could hear. "I didn't know arrogance could sound so tempting when you said it." Amara gripped her latte tightly, the ceramic warm against her trembling hands. Her eyes met Marcus's, searching for softness, but finding only fire. He said, "You think you figured me out with one sentence?" She swallowed, trying to mask the rising heat in her chest. "I see what you show, Marcus," she answered. His brow arched, lips pressing into a thin line. Tasha sighed, shaking her head, muttering, "This is about to get messy." Amara felt her cheeks burn, not from shame but from the way his gaze pinned her in place. He leaned back slightly, voice low and controlled, "Maybe you should look deeper before you decide who I am." The weight of his words pressed down on her, and Amara blinked, fighting the urge to retreat. Tasha's voice cut through the tension, "I'll need to stop before the whole cafe becomes your audience." Marcus smirked faintly, his eyes never leaving Amara. He said, "I don't mind an audience." Amara snapped back, "Then you enjoy the performance too much." For a fleeting moment, Marcus's eyes softened, revealing a glimmer of something unspoken. He leaned forward again, his tone gentler. "Or maybe I just enjoy watching you." Her heart skipped, leaving her unsettled, torn between offense and hidden longing. Amara exhaled slowly, realizing she had underestimated the weight of her careless words. Tasha whispered sharply, "This man is going to flip your whole world, I can feel it." Amara turned to her, eyes narrowing, but her chest still ached with unspoken tension. Marcus straightened, adjusting his jacket, his presence dominating the space. He said, "We'll talk later, when you're ready to be honest with yourself." His voice lingered like smoke, dangerous yet magnetic. Amara sat frozen, a mixture of dread and anticipation twisting inside her. As he walked away, the cafe noise slowly returned, but the storm he left behind still raged in her chest. Amara returned home still shaken, her apartment quiet except for the hum of the fridge. She dropped her bag and leaned against the door, replaying Marcus's words. Tasha had called 3 times already, urging her to talk, but Amara ignored the phone. Her heart pounded as though Marcus's gaze still pinned her to the chair. She whispered aloud, "Why did I say that? Why did he look at me like that?" Shadows stretched across the room as evening fell, each corner reminding her of things she hid from herself. The ache of old heartbreak pressed against her chest, memories of betrayal whispering like ghosts. She had sworn never to give a man the power to unsteady her again. Yet Marcus's voice lingered like smoke curling inside her ribs. She slammed her palm against the counter, angry at her weakness. "No," she muttered, "he doesn't get to matter." But deep inside, the fire he lit refused to die. Tasha arrived unannounced, knocking hard before letting herself in. She found Amara curled on the couch, arms wrapped tight. Tasha said, "Girl, you can't shut down like this." Amara tried to smile but failed, her lips trembling. Tasha dropped her bag, sat close, and took her hand. "Talk to me," she urged. Amara exhaled. "He heard me, Tasha, every word." And instead of walking away, he came straight at me. Tasha squeezed tighter. "And you didn't break? You stared right back? That says something." Amara shook her head, whispering, "It scared me, the way I wanted him to keep looking." Tasha studied her friend carefully, recognizing the truth Amara feared to name. "You're not just mad at him. You're mad at yourself for feeling." Amara turned away, eyes damp. Silence fell heavy, but the words had already cracked open something raw. Amara finally spoke again, voice low but steady. "I don't want to repeat the past. I can't let anyone make me small again." Tasha's eyes softened, remembering the nights Amara had cried over betrayal. "Marcus isn't him," Tasha said gently. Amara snapped back, "But he could be. Men like him, confident, powerful, they break women like me without trying." Tasha shook her head slowly. "Or maybe he sees you as someone who can stand toe-to-toe with him." Amara swallowed hard, fighting back the tears. She hated how much the possibility shook her. "What if I let myself believe that and I'm wrong?" she whispered. Tasha leaned closer, her tone sharp now. "What if you don't believe it and you miss something real?" The room grew heavier, Amara's silence saying more than words could. Later that night, Amara stood before her bathroom mirror, water dripping from her hands as she stared at her reflection. Her eyes looked tired, but something else lingered there, something alive. She whispered, "He sees too much." She traced a finger over the steam-fogged glass, outlining her face. She remembered the way Marcus's eyes had softened for a fraction of a second, and her chest tightened. The bathroom felt too small, air too heavy with secrets. She pressed her palms against the counter, trying to steady her breath. "No more losing myself," she vowed, but her reflection seemed to question her strength. Her phone buzzed again, Marcus's name glowing across the screen this time. She froze, heart skipping, unsure whether to answer or run. The phone buzzed again, vibrating against the counter like a pulse she could not escape. Amara stared, breath uneven, as if the name itself carried weight. Finally she picked it up, but her thumb hovered over the screen. Tasha's earlier words echoed, "What if you don't believe it and you miss something real?" Amara swallowed, whispering to herself, "Do I even want real? Or just safe?" With trembling hands she pressed decline, letting the screen go dark. Silence filled the room, but her heart thundered louder than ever. She closed her eyes, gripping the sink edge, whispering, "I'm not ready, not yet." Yet deep within, the refusal didn't feel like freedom. It felt like running. The next day at the office, Amara kept her head down, typing furiously, as though the keys could drown her thoughts. Marcus's footsteps echoed in the hallway, steady, measured, deliberate. Her chest tightened, heart racing like he was already inside her space. He entered the room, his presence commanding, his eyes lingering too long on her. Amara forced herself to look at her monitor, pretending not to notice. Marcus said, "Morning, Amara." His voice was calm, but beneath it pulsed something sharp. She replied coolly, "Good morning, Marcus." Tasha's words replayed in her head. You stared right back. Amara adjusted her glasses, trying to appear unfazed, but the tremor in her hand betrayed her. Marcus leaned against the doorway, arms folded, a faint smirk on his lips. He said softly, Arrogant but sexy, huh? Guess we're not done with that. Her cheeks flushed, but she bit her lip and kept typing, praying the sound of her keys hid her pulse. By noon, tension wrapped around the office like smoke. Amara entered the break room, hoping for quiet, but Marcus was already there pouring coffee. He glanced up, eyes catching hers, and silence stretched. Amara cleared her throat, reaching for a mug, determined to act normal. He said smoothly, "You avoid me like I'm dangerous." She froze, then answered, "I don't avoid you, Marcus. I work with you." He stepped closer, his tone playful but heavy, working and pretending not to feel something, two different things. Her stomach clenched, heat rising in her chest. "You don't know me well enough to say that," she shot back, though her voice wavered. He studied her, gaze softening just enough to unsettle her. "I see more than you think," he murmured. Amara turned quickly, clutching her coffee cup, afraid he might see too much in her eyes. That afternoon, during a meeting, Amara presented her ideas with practiced confidence, her slides glowing on the screen. Marcus sat across the table, arms folded, eyes fixed on her every word. Her colleagues nodded, impressed, but it was his stare that burned the most. When she finished, silence lingered for a moment too long. Marcus leaned forward, his voice smooth, strong presentation. The compliment sounded genuine, yet his gaze carried something heavier. Amara thanked him, keeping her tone neutral, but her pulse betrayed her calm facade. Tasha, seated nearby, shot her a knowing look, lips pressing together as if to stifle a grin. Amara avoided her eyes, determined not to reveal anything. Marcus tapped his pen, then added, "Confidence looks good on you." Heat crept up her neck, and she quickly shifted the discussion back to numbers. After the meeting, Amara escaped to the stairwell, needing air away from all the stairs. She pressed her back against the cool concrete wall, closing her eyes. The door creaked open, footsteps following her. Marcus entered, his presence filling the narrow space. She snapped, "Do you follow me everywhere?" He smirked, leaning against the railing. "Only when you run from me." She crossed her arms, chin lifted defiantly. "I don't run. I just don't have time for games." His eyes darkened, voice low. "This isn't a game, Amara." The way he said her name sent a shiver down her spine. She turned away, whispering, "It feels dangerous." He stepped closer, close enough she could feel the warmth of him without touching. "Maybe dangerous is exactly what you need," he murmured. Her heart raced, torn between fleeing and staying. That evening, Amara walked to her car in the underground parking lot, footsteps echoing on the concrete. She fumbled with her keys, nerves raw from the day. Suddenly, Marcus's voice came from behind. "You keep running, but you can't outrun what's between us." She turned sharply, eyes flashing. "You think this is some story you control?" She shot back. He stopped a few feet away, expression unreadable. "No, but I know you feel it too." Her hand trembled around the keys. "Even if I do, it doesn't mean I want it." His voice dropped, softer now. Want and need aren't always the same. For a moment, silence filled the space, heavy and intimate. Amara looked away, heart hammering, unsure if she feared him or herself more. The week dragged heavy until Friday, when Amara stepped into the lobby and froze. Across the marble floor stood a woman she had not seen in years, Naomi, Marcus's ex, the same woman who once whispered poison into her ear. Naomi's smile was sharp, her eyes colder than ice. "Amara," she said smoothly, "long time no see." Amara's breath caught, old scars reopening instantly. She forced her voice steady. "What are you doing here?" Naomi's smirk deepened. "I'm back where I belong." Before Amara could answer, Marcus appeared, his eyes widening at the sight of Naomi. He muttered, "You shouldn't be here." The air between the three of them snapped with tension. Naomi's gaze shifted between Marcus and Amara, her tone cutting. "So, this is why you never let me back in, Marcus? Because of her." Amara's pulse thundered. The past she thought was buried had just walked into her present, and Marcus was caught in the middle. Amara felt the ground tilt beneath her as Naomi stepped closer, heels striking the floor like deliberate weapons. Naomi said, "You really thought he was yours? You don't know the half of him." Marcus's jaw tightened as he cut in sharply. "Enough, Naomi." But Naomi's voice only grew sweeter, dripping venom. "He didn't tell you, did he? About the time he came back to me when you thought he'd vanished?" Amara's heart lurched, the words twisting deep. She turned to Marcus, her voice shaking. "Is it true?" He held her gaze, silent for too long, and in that silence she heard the answer. Her chest burned as anger and betrayal surged through her veins. Naomi smiled, satisfied, and whispered, "You see, he always finds his way back to me." Amara staggered back, her hand gripping the strap of her bag like an anchor. She hissed, "You lied to me, Marcus." His voice came low, pained. "It wasn't what she makes it sound like." Naomi laughed softly, tilting her head. "Of course he'll say that, but he came back, Amara. He always does." Amara's throat tightened, eyes burning, but she refused to cry in front of them. She whispered, "I should have known better." Marcus stepped toward her, his voice desperate. "Amara, listen. Yes, I saw her again, but it wasn't what you think. I ended it before it began." Naomi's eyes glimmered with cruelty. "He ended it because I refused to be his secret." Amara's knees weakened, fury and hurt warring inside. For the first time she looked at Marcus, not with longing, but with doubt so sharp it cut. The lobby doors opened as employees passed by, but the world narrowed to the three of them. Amara said bitterly, "I don't play second to anyone." Marcus's voice cracked with urgency. "You never were second. Naomi is twisting this." Naomi's laugh echoed against the glass walls. "Twisting? I only told her what you didn't. The truth you hid." Amara's eyes filled with fire as she snapped, "You should have told me yourself." Marcus's hands clenched helplessly at his sides. He whispered, "I was afraid of losing you." Amara's heart split, because in that confession lay the proof. He had chosen silence, and silence was betrayal. Naomi turned away, her heels clicking like victory, leaving Marcus and Amara standing in ruins of trust. As Naomi disappeared through the revolving doors, silence fell, heavier than any words. Amara turned back to Marcus, her voice low but deadly. "You should have trusted me with the truth." He stepped closer, pleading, "I made a mistake. Don't let her win." But Amara shook her head, pain hardening into steel. "This isn't about her winning. It's about me losing myself if I stay." Marcus's face fell, his control cracking, eyes filled with something close to fear. She turned toward the exit, her heels striking the floor in steady rhythm, each step carrying her away from the wreckage. Marcus called softly, "Amara." But her name hung unanswered in the air. For the first time, she did not turn back. That night, Amara stormed into her apartment, slamming the door behind her. She pressed her back against the wood, breath ragged, heart bleeding with betrayal. Before she could even settle, her phone buzzed. Marcus's name glowed again, relentless. She answered, voice sharp, "What do you want from me?" His tone came steady but desperate, to explain. "To fight for what matters." Amara laughed bitterly. "You already fought for her, Marcus." Silence lingered on the line before he said, "I fought with myself. I chose you even when I was too afraid to admit it." Her chest tightened with fury and longing, the war inside tearing her in two. She shouted, "You should have chosen honesty first." Her voice cracked, betraying the pain behind the anger. Marcus's voice dropped low, raw. "Then, let me earn it now." She slammed the phone down, tears streaking her cheeks. Moments later, a loud knock rattled her door. Amara froze, whispering, "No," but his voice carried through, firm yet pleading. "Amara, open up." She paced, torn between slamming it shut forever or hearing him out. Against her better judgment, she unlocked it. Marcus stepped inside, filling the room with his presence. His face was tired, his suit disheveled, but his eyes burned with urgency. "I couldn't let tonight end like this," he said. Amara glared. You should have let it end before it began. He stepped closer, but she raised her hand like a barrier. Stay there. His voice softened. You don't have to forgive me tonight, but don't shut me out before I can show you who I really am. Her pulse throbbed as the storm inside threatened to consume her. Amara's voice trembled but stayed sharp. Do you know what it feels like to be blindsided by the one person you tried to trust? Marcus's eyes softened with regret. Every day, I've lived with choices that haunt me. She scoffed. And I'm supposed to be your redemption? He shook his head. You're not my redemption. You're my truth. The words stung, sweet and sharp at once. She clenched her fists, whispering, I don't know if I can believe you. Marcus stepped closer, eyes locked on hers. Then don't believe my words. Believe the way I've never stopped showing up. She faltered, his nearness pulling at the walls she had built. Showing up late still means you weren't there when it mattered, she whispered, eyes wet. His jaw tightened, but he didn't move away. Then, let me be here now, he said quietly. The tension snapped like a wire pulled too tight. Amara shouted, You can't erase lies with pretty words. Her voice echoed through the room. Marcus's chest rose and fell, his voice breaking. Then tell me what I can do. Her throat ached as she answered, You can't undo betrayal. He stepped closer, lowering his voice. I can't rewrite the past, but I can fight for our future. Her tears spilled faster now, not just from pain but from the ache of wanting him still. She whispered, Why do I hate you and want you all at once? Marcus's hand trembled at his side, resisting the urge to reach for her. He said, Because the truth between us is stronger than the lies. Their eyes locked, fury and longing colliding like fire and storm. The silence after their words was deafening, heavy with everything unsaid. Amara whispered finally, If I let you in again, I lose a piece of myself. Marcus stepped closer, voice trembling with urgency. No, you find the piece you've been protecting too long. She closed her eyes, tears sliding down. His voice softened further. I don't want your forgiveness tonight. I want your truth. Yell at me, hate me, but don't shut me out. Her body shook as anger gave way to exhaustion. For the first time, she let her hands drop from her guard. You broke me, Marcus, she whispered. He whispered back, Then let me help you heal. Their eyes locked, fire and wreckage between them, the air unsteady, the night itself holding its breath. Morning light streamed through Amara's curtains, soft but unwelcome. She sat at the edge of her bed, staring at the floor as her phone buzzed with unread messages from Marcus. She had not answered since last night. Her body felt heavy, but her heart heavier. Tasha knocked lightly before entering, carrying 2 coffees. You look like you've wrestled with ghosts, Tasha said gently. Amara muttered, I wrestled with Marcus. Tasha sat beside her, pressing the warm cup into her hand. You don't have to decide today. Amara sighed, but every moment I wait feels like deciding already. Tasha touched her shoulder. Then choose what saves you, not what breaks you. The words sat heavy but true. Amara's eyes welled with tears, her chest aching with exhaustion. For once, she whispered, I don't know if love is worth the fight. Later that day, Amara wandered through the city park, autumn leaves crunching under her shoes. The crisp air cleared her head but left her heart raw. She sat on a bench, watching couples pass by, their laughter cutting her with longing. She whispered, Love is easy for them. Marcus's voice startled her. Love was never meant to be easy. She turned sharply. He stood a few feet away, hesitant but determined. Amara's breath hitched, anger rising again. You don't get to follow me here. Marcus's voice softened. I came because you deserve answers, not silence. She folded her arms, eyes narrowing. And what if your answers only hurt more? His shoulders sagged, but his voice stayed firm. Then I'll carry the hurt with you, not against you. Amara's voice trembled, heavy with disbelief. You think showing up is enough? You broke me with what you didn't say. Marcus's jaw tightened, his eyes filled with regret. I kept the truth from you because I thought it would protect us. I was wrong. Her chest rose sharply, fury clashing with aching vulnerability. You thought lying would protect me? She spat. His voice cracked. No, I thought silence would save me from losing you. But it lost me anyway. Her tears spilled, hot and unrelenting. She whispered, and what if I can't forgive you? He stepped closer, gaze unwavering. Then I'll still keep proving you matter, even if you never let me back. The words lingered, breaking her defenses piece by piece. The sky dimmed as clouds gathered, the park quieting around them. Amara wiped her face with trembling hands, whispering, You don't make this easy. Marcus sat down slowly beside her, leaving a space between them. I never promised easy. I can only promise real. His words settled into the silence like heavy stones. She turned her head, eyes searching his face for deception, but finding only weariness. For the first time, she saw his walls down. Real hurts, she whispered. He nodded, voice low. Yes, but it's worth the scars. Her chest ached, caught between longing and fear. Slowly, she let her hands fall to her lap, no longer folded like shields. The smallest gesture, yet everything shifted. As the first drops of rain began to fall, Amara whispered, If we try again, Marcus, it has to be different. No shadows, no half-truths. He nodded, water glistening in his hair. No more lies. No more running. Her voice broke. I don't know if I can trust you yet. His reply was steady. Then let me stay until you do. She closed her eyes, rain mixing with her tears, and for the first time she didn't push him away. Instead, she let the silence hold them, fragile but alive. The storm above mirrored the one within, but somehow standing in it together felt less unbearable. For a fleeting moment, she let herself hope. The rain poured harder that night, drumming against the city like 1,000 tiny fists. Amara returned to her apartment, soaked, her body trembling as though the storm had seeped into her bones. She dropped her bag and slid down the wall, arms wrapped around her knees. Memories replayed relentlessly. Marcus's confession, Naomi's venom, her own trembling voice when she admitted her fear. Every piece of it pressed into her ribs until she could barely breathe. The door knocked once, soft yet certain. Marcus's voice called from the other side, muffled but steady. Amara, I'm still here. She pressed her forehead to her knees, torn between screaming and opening the door. The storm outside howled, but the silence in her chest was louder. She whispered, If I open it, I might not close it again. Amara rose slowly, feet heavy as lead. She reached for the doorknob, her hand trembling before pulling back. She muttered, No, I can't. Marcus's voice came again, lower now. You don't have to let me in tonight. Just let me prove tomorrow exists. Tears blurred her vision. What if tomorrow breaks me again? She whispered. His answer came without hesitation. Then I'll be the one who breaks too, not you alone. Her chest heaved, as though the words carved through steel. She pressed her palm flat to the door, closing her eyes. She could feel the heat of him on the other side, the weight of his presence pressing through the wood. For the first time, she didn't pull away. Minutes stretched into eternity as neither moved. Finally, Amara whispered through the door, I'm scared of losing myself in you. His breath caught before he answered, Then let's build something where you never have to. Her chest trembled at the sound of hope in his voice. You can't erase Naomi, she said bitterly. He replied, I don't want to erase her. I want to prove she has no place here anymore. Amara sank against the door, her voice breaking. And if I can't forgive? Marcus's tone was steady, unwavering. Then I'll stay anyway, until I've earned whatever piece of you you're willing to give. Her tears fell freely now, soaking her sweater. She realized the war was no longer between her and him. It was between her heart and her fear. At last, Amara turned the lock and opened the door slightly. Marcus stood soaked to the bone, rain dripping down his jaw, but his eyes carried a raw tenderness. She whispered, "You look like you've been through a war." He replied softly, "I have. And this," he gestured faintly between them, "is the only battle worth fighting." Her lips trembled, caught between anger and surrender. "You'll break me again," she warned. His voice cracked. "Maybe, but I'll be the one who stays to hold the pieces." For the first time, she let him step across the threshold. The air between them vibrated with fear, longing, and something dangerously close to forgiveness. The storm outside softened, though thunder still rumbled faintly in the distance. Marcus stood in Amara's living room, dripping rain on the hardwood floor, watching her with steady eyes. She whispered, "This isn't a happy ending." He shook his head, voice low. "It's not the end. It's the beginning of something brutal but honest." She turned her back, arms wrapping around herself, but her voice carried. "Then don't make promises you can't keep." He stepped closer, speaking barely above a whisper. "The only promise I'll make is that I won't leave again, not even when it hurts." Amara closed her eyes, one final tear sliding down her cheek. The silence that followed was sharp, unforgettable, leaving them suspended in fragile truth.